Imagine a people who still hunt with simple bows and poisoned arrows, who find the medicine they need from wild roots and honeycombs, whose language still uses click sounds like ancient echoes, and who live in the shadow of modern towns. In a world of glass towers and smartphones, they walk the same land their ancestors did for thousands of years. This is the Hadzabe, one of the very last full-time hunter-gatherer groups on Earth. The Hadzabe are often called Africa's oldest tribe, a living link to how humans survived tens of thousands of years ago. Stay with me, what you think you know about traditional life will be challenged. Before I continue, kindly hit that subscribe button, like, and share this video with your loved ones. Thank you. Now, let's dive in. The Hadzabe live in northern Tanzania, around the shores and hills near Lake Eyasi in the Eyasi Valley. Their land sits between drier bushland and the grassy plains of East Africa. This is their home, where they move with the seasons to follow food and water. The best short label for their area is the Lake Eyasi region, south of the famous Serengeti-Ngorongoro zone. Today the Hadzabe are a small community. Estimates put them at roughly 1,000 to a little over 1,000 people. They are not a large tribe. That small size makes each village, each camp, and each person very important to the survival of their language and culture. The Hadzabe are primarily hunter-gatherers. That means they do not farm or herd animals like many neighboring peoples. Instead, they get their food from the wild. Men mostly hunt with bows and arrows, women and children gather tubers, berries, baobab fruit, and honey. They also trap small animals and catch birds. Their daily life centers on finding, sharing, and preparing wild food. Hunting and gathering are not hobbies, they are survival and culture. They move camps often, following where food is best. Their movement is flexible and based on knowledge of the land, the location of water pools, the ripening of fruits, and seasonal animal movements. Their social life is tied tightly to this mobility. Camps are small and change composition as people split and join groups. Hadzabe hunters use simple, highly effective tools. The bow and poisoned arrow are key. The arrows may be tipped with natural toxins from local plants or animals. Hunters use stealth, tracking skills, and deep knowledge of animal behavior. Tracking is an art, reading footprints, droppings, and the broken twigs an animal leaves behind. Gatherers use digging sticks for tubers, small woven baskets for carrying, and detailed plant knowledge to find food and medicine. Women's gathering is as crucial as men's hunting. In many seasons, gathered plant foods provide most calories for the group. The Hadzabe do not keep domestic animals or plant crops as a main food source. The Hadza language is unique. It is a language isolate, meaning it does not clearly belong to any larger language family. It is famous for using click consonants, rare sounds that also appear in some southern African languages. Children still learn Hadza at home, which keeps the language alive, but outside pressures and contact with other groups put it at risk. Hadzabe society is small-scale and highly egalitarian. That means they do not have strict class hierarchies or big chiefs who boss everyone around. Decisions are often local and informal. Social bonds form from sharing meat, food, and childcare. When hunters bring back game, the meat is shared widely. This sharing is central to their social rules and reputation. Marriage and family patterns are flexible. People may change camps and partners with less rigid structure than in many farming societies. Elders are respected for knowledge, especially knowledge about plants, water, and tracking. Yet formal political power is weak. Social influence comes from skill, generosity, and age. Hadzabe's spiritual life revolves around the natural world. Rituals often involve songs, dances, and special prayers for hunting success, healing, or community health. Some rituals mark major life events, births, injuries, or deaths. Beliefs are linked to animals, plants, and the weather, elements that matter directly for survival. Their ritual life is practical as well as sacred. Rituals can strengthen group bonds and teach skills. Anthropologists who have worked with the Hadzabe describe dances that both celebrate and educate, passing knowledge about animals, plants, and moral behavior. One of the most revealing modern studies about the Hadzabe looks at their gut microbiome, the mix of microbes in their digestive systems. Scientists who studied Hadzabe stool samples discovered very high microbial diversity compared to people in industrialized cities. Their microbiome shifts with the seasons, more plant-linked microbes in the wet season, more meat-linked microbes in dry times. This diversity likely ties to their varied natural diet and lack of processed foods. The Hadzabe show few of the chronic diseases common in modern urban life, at least in part because their diet is high in fiber and low in processed sugar and refined oils. But this is not a simple model to copy. Message: health differences depend on environment, pathogens, access to modern medicine, and many other factors. Recent studies also show that contact with outsiders, antibiotics, and changing diets could alter this microbiome quickly. Anthropologists and biologists study the Hadzabe because they provide a living example of a full-time hunter-gatherer lifestyle, a way humans lived for tens of thousands of years. Studying their food, movement, language, and microbes helps researchers understand human evolution, nutrition, language development, and social organization. But scientific study must be respectful. The Hadzabe are not a laboratory, they are people. Modern research projects aim to learn while giving back, by sharing findings, supporting community needs, or helping protect Hadzabe land. The Hadzabe face serious and immediate threats. First, land loss and land rights. Their traditional foraging lands have been carved up for farms, ranches, and conservation areas that restrict movement. Government and private groups sometimes claim land for agriculture or tourism, leaving Hadzabe with less space to hunt and gather. This reduces their food sources and forces some to rely on odd jobs or government handouts. Second, cultural change and assimilation. Contact with neighboring farming groups and towns brings new languages, schools, and religion. Young Hadzabe sometimes move away for work or marry into other communities, which can weaken traditional knowledge transmission. Schools and mosques or churches expand influence, offering new choices but also changing lifestyles. Third, health risks. New diseases, changing diets, and loss of traditional food sources can damage community health. Also, limited access to good healthcare means treatable illnesses can become serious. Fourth, tourism impact. Tourist interest can bring money, but can also encourage staged performances that change ritual practices. It can create dependency on tourist income and distort cultural life. All these forces are pushing Hadzabe life into new shapes. Some Hadzabe adapt by blending old skills with new income sources. Others are pushed into deeper poverty. Land rights are a major political issue. Because the Hadzabe move around and do not farm fixed fields, legal systems that map ownership to fenced land do not fit their needs. Governments and conservation projects sometimes designate areas as protected or allocate land for agriculture. These actions may limit access to water, hunting grounds, or sacred sites. Some NGOs and legal groups work to secure rights for hunter-gatherer peoples by documenting traditional usage and pushing for legal recognition of community land. Success varies. In many cases the Hadzabe still lack formal control over their ancestral lands. The result, food security declines and dependence on outsiders increases. Daily life is structured around food: go out, find food, return, share, repair tools, rest, and sleep. Work and rest blend naturally. There is no strict separation between work time and free time as in a clock-driven society. Instead, people respond to light, weather, and animal behavior. Children learn by watching and participating from an early age. They develop tracking and plant knowledge gradually. By age 7 or 8 many can gather and even help in hunts. Storytelling, song, and demonstration are key teaching tools. Skills are learned at the side of elders and parents rather than in a classroom. Hadzabe gender roles are distinct but complementary. Men often specialize in long tracking hunts, while women gather tubers, fruits, and honey. Both tasks are essential. In many seasons, gathered plant foods provide more of the daily calories than meat. Women's gathering is skilled and reliable, a backbone of the diet. Social status does not map directly to gender. Respected people are those who contribute skills and who share. Women and men both influence daily life and decisions in practical ways. Formal education is spreading, but it brings mixed effects. School gives children reading and math and possible pathways to jobs in towns. But school schedules and language, usually Swahili, can reduce time spent learning traditional skills. Some parents want both, schooling plus preservation of culture. The future for the Hadzabe will likely be a mix. Some will keep hunting and gathering, others will combine old knowledge with new jobs. The challenge is to protect the rights and choices of Hadzabe communities, so they decide their path. Now, let's clear up some common myths. Myth: they have stayed unchanged for thousands of years. Reality: Hadzabe culture is dynamic. They have adapted, traded, and changed over time. Contact, disease, trade, and politics have influenced them. They are not a time capsule. Myth: they have perfect health because of their lifestyle. Reality: they may avoid some chronic diseases, but they also lack many modern healthcare protections and can be vulnerable to infectious diseases and malnutrition when land is lost. Myth: anyone can copy the Hadzabe diet and gain the same health. Reality: their diet depends on local plants, seasonal cycles, and microbes in the environment. It's not practical or safe to simply copy it. Let me tell a short true-style scene to illustrate daily life. A group wakes before sunrise. The hunters move out quietly, following a spoor. The women set off with baskets and digging sticks. By midday, one hunter returns with small game. The women have gathered tubers and baobab fruit. The camp shares the meat and fruit without arguing, because sharing binds them. That evening, by firelight, elders sing and children imitate the patterns of hunting and plants. This pattern repeats across seasons. If you care about the Hadzabe, here are respectful ways to help. Support legal efforts that secure land rights. Donate to or volunteer with trustworthy local groups that work with Hadzabe priorities, not outsiders' agendas. Avoid paying for staged culture that exploits people. If you visit, do so with community consent and fair payment. Advocate for health and education programs that include Hadzabe voices and choices. Promote reporting and media that treats Hadzabe as people, not as exotic relics. So let's recap. Where do the Hadzabe live? The Lake Eyasi region of northern Tanzania. How many are there? Around 1,000 to 1,300 people. What do? They live as full-time hunter-gatherers, hunting, trapping, and gathering. What language do they speak? Hadza, a language isolate with click consonants. What have scientists learned? That their gut microbiomes are rich, diverse, and shift seasonally with their diet. The Hadzabe are not a museum exhibit. They are a living people whose knowledge of land, plants, and animals is deep and rare. They show us that many paths of human life existed and still exist. Their situation also reminds us how fragile cultural diversity can be when political and economic forces push people off their land. Respect, rights, and real choices are the best way forward. If we care about human diversity, we should listen, and then act in ways the Hadzabe choose.